There's a big one out in the 806 tonight as Texas Tech men's basketball will face off against the number 6 Jayhawks, but they'll be a little shorthanded as a familiar face to Texas Tech fans will miss the game for the Jayhawks and Kevin McCullough. And also you have DeJuan Harris, who's battling a ankle injury. So we're going to break the whole game down here on today's live stream. We'll also talk about, I don't know, this guy named Patrick Mahomes. Maybe you heard of him. I don't know. Maybe you heard of him. I would assume you have. And what him and the Kansas City Chiefs did yesterday out in Vegas. And we're going to talk about really his legacy right now. We got the question up there in terms of just a simple yes or no. Is Patrick Mahomes already a Hall of Famer? We'll discuss that. But we're going to start with basketball. And give me your score predictions in the comments. And if you haven't already, hey, simply like the video. It goes a long way in helping get some more people in here. Have a little bit more action, better dialogue. And we'll go for about, 30 minutes, 45 minutes here, depending on how the comment section is going. But we're going to break down this game because this is one of those games where if you're Texas Tech, you got to get it. You have to have this one in the sense of what's up against you, in the sense of Kansas not at 100%. You're at home. You're catching them on a short turnaround where they had to travel in and had to deal with weather conditions in Lubbock because, of course, it would snow on Super Bowl Sunday, right? I mean, it was perfect because what is tonight at the USA? It's a whiteout. So we're going to jump straight into it. Scene setter for this one, United Supermarkets Arena. Tip-off is set for 8 p.m. Central Time. It'll be a big Monday game for the Red Raiders. Primetime, ESPN, Fran Fraschilla on the call. That's how you know it's a big game, okay? And it's a big game for a lot of reasons. I didn't realize in the sense of the history between Texas Tech and Kansas how bad it was in terms of one-sided to Kansas. Like, I understand Kansas, hey, they do them when it comes to basketball. They're really freaking good and have been really forever because they invented the game, right? Or at least have the rules. But you look at this series all time, Kansas is 43-7 against the Red Raiders. During my time at Texas Tech, it always felt like the Red Raiders were at least competitive, right? I will never forget the Devontae Graham game where he threw one off of the ceiling of the USA, it felt like, when College Game Day was there. That game was absolutely nuts. But anyway, the Jayhawks are currently on a 4-game winning streak against the Red Raiders. Tech's last win was on January 8th of 2022 in Lubbock. Things you need to know for this game before you watch it. Period, end of story. You got to know these few things. No Kevin McCullough. That's huge. I mean, that is unbelievably huge when it comes down to it for Texas Tech and their prospects of winning this game. Listen, I understand the history of Kevin McCullough. I understand it very well with Texas Tech. But I think we all can admit dude's a baller. Okay, he's an absolute baller, and he is a guy that makes the Jayhawks go. Okay, they need a lot of things to go right, whether that's from Furphy, whether that's from Harris. Obviously, Hunter Dickinson is going to be down there making an impact as well in the painted area for them, but he is their best player, Kevin McCullough Jr., and Texas Tech doesn't have to deal with that tonight. Now, DeJuan Harris, the starting point guard for the Jayhawks, also battling an injury, but according to Bill Self, he will play tonight. Now, he's got an ankle injury, doesn't know how much he's going to be able to play. I suspect if they're letting him play, it's not that serious, and it's more of a, hey, can we get it loose, pain tolerance type deal. But those are the things you have to know for Texas Tech going into this one. Now, on the Texas Tech side, I think a lot of people are asking about health and everything like that, and I get it, rightfully so to some degree. Yeah, I think this team is pretty much back to 100%. That's not something I'm really worried about anymore from a health perspective anyway. I think everybody's, good in terms of, well, as good as you can be really about a week post-flu. So I think Texas Tech is in a good spot. Now, Texas Tech is currently 3-3 against ranked opponents this season. They are also not doing too hot right now. They actually fell down in terms of KenPom in this one, did the Red Raiders. They fell to 38th, but this could be a big one for the Red Raiders to jump up, maybe 4, maybe even 5 spots if they win, regardless of if it's up on the home floor. This is a big one for Texas Tech. There's no doubt about it. And this is the perfect opportunity to catch the Jayhawks. Short, quick turnaround after they had college game day there in Lawrence. They have 2 of their better players injured. One of them is going to miss the game entirely. They had to travel and had, well, to deal with the elements in terms of the snow, as I just mentioned, out there in the 806. And they get a Texas Tech team at home in a ruckus environment. 8 p.m. tip off. You know the students are going to show out, and it's going to be one hell of a place to really watch a basketball game, right? I mean, it's going to be sensational. Now, the matchup I'm watching in this one, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's going to be the big men down low. HD and WW right there in terms of Hunter Dickinson and then Warren Washington. That's the matchup to watch. There's no if, and, or buts about it, in my opinion. If Warren Washington can stay out of foul trouble, that is by far the biggest thing for Texas Tech tonight. You're going to shoot better, I think, than you did against UCF because it's going to be hard to shoot that bad again. 3 for 16 as a team if you take away Kerwin Walton's 4 for 5 from deep. By the way, Kerwin Walton didn't score in the second half. So you think about that. Warren Washington on a guy that in Hunter Dickinson is the best big man in the Big 12. I don't think that that's a hot take or anything. He's one of the best big men in all of college basketball. Warren is going to have to stay out of foul trouble, stay smart, and maybe have some of those plays where it's like, hey, I can go contest this shot, but there's a high likelihood of a foul. Maybe just back off a little bit and let that happen in terms of the bucket right there. Obviously, got to pick and choose your spots because there's a drastic drop off, and not any shade at Robert Jennings or even Kyron Lindsey or whoever they throw in there at the 5 spot for Texas Tech. You need the height because Hunter Dickinson is a legit 7-footer, and you don't want him to have a mismatch on Robert Jennings of damn near half a foot. Let's just call it what it is, right? So that's what I'm watching. All right. When it comes down to the odds in this one, I was actually kind of surprised, if I'm being honest. Texas Tech is favored in this game. And I understand that the Kevin McCullough aspect of it and it being out in the 806 too, but they're 3.5-point favorites right now at the current time of this recording. And, you know, we're about an hour and a half away from tip off. I think it's very interesting in this one in the sense of you have 2 teams that really haven't been playing their best basketball as of late. You know, obviously Kansas, they do a sensational job there at Allen Fieldhouse, but once you get them out of the friendly confines of the fog, they're not very good. I mean, just go look at their record. They're 2-4 on the road this season. They've lost at UCF and West Virginia. I mean, obviously it's hard to win up there at Hilton in Ames, Iowa, but I mean, they just struggle on the road. It's night and day different are the Jayhawks on the road, and Texas Tech is getting them at the absolute perfect time. I mean, just perfect time. If you want to pull off the upset, at least when it comes down to, you know, the ranking side of this. If you haven't already, like the video, goes a long way in helping and letting me know, hey, RC, we want to see more lives here. I got the message last time. I did. But we need to get the likes up a little bit here on the channel. And it goes a long way in terms of more likes, more live videos. It's really that simple, people. Now, don't forget to vote as well in the comment section. But let's see who is in the comment section right now listening to this one. We got T. Ferg 806 with the guns up 100. We got Christopher Thomas saying, yeah, we got this. 76-71 Tech. Nick said, bring the heat. Christopher, the only question is if Tech can out-rebound. It's going to be an interesting part of this game for sure. And I mean, you got to keep Warren Washington out of foul trouble. That's the biggest thing. Dustin says from Twitter, by the way, you can watch over on Twitter now as well. RC, let's get this dub. And then David says good news on Kansas being shorthanded. Yeah. I mean, when I look at this, and I know that some people care about my prediction, others really don't, and that's fine. I think Texas Tech wins this basketball game. I really do. I've got them winning 77-72. And the reason being is this. I've laid out really the fundamental argument for me in the sense of, okay, they don't have their best player in Kevin McCullough Jr. Their lead guard and DeJuan Harris, bum ankle right now. Hunter Dickinson, if you can keep Warren Washington out of foul trouble, you got a really good shot there. But really what it comes down to is the Texas Tech side of it. There's just I have a hard time seeing them shooting 3 of 16 from deep again. When these kind of games happen, there's one guy that rises to the occasion for Texas Tech. He loves the moment. And if you said Pop Isaacs in your head, you're right. Pop Isaacs, I feel like, is going to have a sensational game tonight, get back on track. He's just one of those guys that loves the big moment, and no bigger moment than, well, Big Monday, right, on ESPN against the top 10 team in the country with a whiteout. So I expect him to play well. Another guy I expect to play well in this one, and he's been the hot topic of conversation. And if you watched the last video here on the channel, I was pretty hard on him. I think Joe Toussaint has a pretty solid game tonight. And the reason being is this. I think you're going to see DeJuan Harris on Joe Toussaint. I think Joe Toussaint is going to go right at Hunter Dickinson tonight for this reason. You think Texas Tech doesn't have much depth in terms of the front court, in terms of provenness. Go look at Kansas. Now, they've got higher level skill players in terms of 4 stars and stuff like that. But from a provenness perspective, it ain't much better. And so if you can get HD in foul trouble for the Jayhawks, game changer. I mean, just absolute game changer. And the best way to do that is for Joe Toussaint to go downhill, be aggressive, and get back to the ways that he fundamentally plays basketball at a high level. And that is with aggressiveness and going and getting his own shot. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think he should pass or anything like that, but you have to make Kansas worry about having their big man in foul trouble, because if they put Adams at the 5, yes, they're going to be able to space things out more. But if you got Warren Washington in there against Adams, it's kind of a similar situation as what Texas Tech would have to do, in the sense that Robert Jennings is a huge, huge height difference in terms of Hunter Dickinson. Well, Adams is a huge height difference from Warren Washington. So there's a lot to look at in that regard. But, man, I don't know. It's just one of those games for me where I feel like Texas Tech does win this basketball game tonight, because a lot of things are going towards them in terms of the injury bug for the Kansas Jayhawks, it being at home, quick turnaround. Kansas obviously had some difficulty getting to the 806 because of the snow and everything like that. This feels like one of those games where, all right, if you can take this one, because the next one you got is in Ames. Good luck. Good luck in Ames, man. Nobody wins in Ames right now. I mean, winning in Ames is like trying to win in Houston. It's damn near impossible at this rate. Now, I kind of want to go and talk about Mahomes now. But before we do, again, like the video one more time. It goes a long way. And most importantly right now, get in that comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking right now when it comes to Patrick Mahomes and what he's doing with the Kansas City Chiefs, or your thoughts when it comes to Texas Tech men's basketball. Because, man, there's a lot to be excited about right now when it comes to Texas Tech athletics. I think football's on the up and up. Obviously, you got to fix the offensive line issues, and the offense has to be a little bit better. I understand that. But Texas Tech basketball is well ahead of schedule in year number 1 of Grant McCasland. And then you've got the face of the biggest brand in sports as an alumni in Patrick Mahomes. And, oh, by the way, he just won his 3rd title. So going to be a lot of fun to talk about him here in just a second. But once again, if you haven't already, like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. We're giving you daily Texas Tech videos here, whether that's the short form content where it just goes straight to your phone. If you turn on the notification, boom, you get that video instantaneously, watch it right away. Or, hey, we're going to be doing lives a little bit more frequently here on the channel as well. But we got to get the likes up here on the lives in order to do more, so I know to actually do them, right? All right, let's talk about this. This man is he's a freak. I'm just so happy he went to Texas Tech. Look at that. That's one of my prized possessions right there, people. That a hand-painted Patty photo, absolute gas. Mahomes was 33 of 46 last night, 333 passing yards, 2 TDs, and also ran for 66 yards. Travis Kelce was the leading receiver for the Chiefs. And this might be the craziest stat of them all. And we're gonna talk about some crazy damn stats here today about Patrick Mahomes. I'm telling you that right now. He is the first player in NFL history with 3 Super Bowl MVPs before turning 30 years old. Let me repeat that. The first player in NFL history with 3 Super Bowl MVPs before turning 30 years old. I mean, it's one of those things, man, where like this was a down year for them. Remember, I was part of it. I was over here talking mad shit about Mecole Hardman not even 2 weeks ago. Um, and he caught the game-winning touchdown pass for the Chiefs. Their wide receivers are butt cheeks outside of Rashid Rice and Travis Kelce, right? We were making fun of MVS and, Mecole Hardman and Sky Moore and I don't know, Watson, whoever the hell else they were throwing out there. It felt like it was JV surrounded by 2 guys. Well, really 1 guy that's a Hall of Famer at the pass catching position and Travis Kelce, and then a rookie that really exploded onto the scene this year. Um, Outside of that, the weapons were, let's just call it what it is. Shit. They were bad. This was supposed to be the year that you were supposed to get the Chiefs. And you know why you can never bet against the Chiefs? I've tweeted this multiple times. If you bet or you think that Patrick Mahomes is going to lose, you're going to be wrong way, way more often than you're right. And I'll tell you this right now, in the playoffs, if you're betting against Patrick Mahomes, you're just giving money to the sports book at this point. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Don't bet against this man. Just don't do it. It's the easiest money in the world, in my opinion, when it comes to sports betting. And again, do so at your own risk, legally, of course. If you bet against Patrick Mahomes, I don't know what the hell you're doing. I really don't. I mean, he's crazy, man. He's in 15 career games, playoff games. Okay. Excuse me. 18 career playoff games. Okay. He's 15-3. He has more wins in the playoffs before he turns 29 years old than Peyton Manning had in his entire career. Let me repeat that. Patrick Mahomes, at the age of 28, has 15 career playoff wins, more than Peyton Manning had in his entire career. And Peyton Manning got most of those, it felt like, when he was with the Broncos. I mean, he's just unreal, man. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you look at some of the stats between him and Brady when it comes to playoff stats. So Patrick Mahomes, 5,100 yards passing, just a little over it. Brady, 3,200. 41 TD passes for Patrick Mahomes, 20 for Brady. He's doubled the amount of touchdowns Tom Brady has thrown. And by the way, their games are very similar in terms of the amount played. He has less interceptions. He has the same amount of Super Bowl championships. And oh, by the way, 1 more Super Bowl MVP. Mahomes is only 28, man. And I'll say this. Is Mahomes the GOAT right now? No, I don't think we could say that. Still got to have Tom Brady there. But if anyone tells you differently from this take that I'm about to say, I think they're wrong. And they're probably just a hater, and that's fine. People hate greatness. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback talent the game of football has ever seen. Period. End of story. Okay? Every quarterback is now trying to reach his level. If you hear somebody say that, oh, who's the best quarterback in the NFL, and they don't say Patrick Mahomes instantly, stop listening to them. Just stop. It's not worth it. You're wasting your time. Go take the dog on a walk, go clean the kitchen, whatever you need to do. But stop listening to that person because it's idiotic. There's no question now. Please do not mention Josh Allen. Please do not mention Lamar Jackson. Please do not mention Jalen Hurts. Please do not mention Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow. None of these guys in the same conversation as Patrick Mahomes. It's not close anymore, people. He is in a tier, maybe even 3 tiers higher than anybody else. Talk to me when any of those guys have a ring that I just mentioned. Outside of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, that's the only guy that has a ring, and he's got 1. And he did that, when I was in middle school? Come on, man. I mean, it's just a different level. It's just a different level, man. And tie it back into Texas Tech football here, because I know that some people want to hear that. That's the face of your program. Texas Tech fans, that's the guy that gets to represent you. Who else would you want? He's the biggest name in sports. This is not a hyperbole. He's on the same level as LeBron and Steph. Like Patrick Mahomes, the guy that went to Texas Tech University from the years of 2014 to 2016 in the Ring of Honor for Texas Tech. He's on the same level as some of the greatest athletes that you can remember from this past, quarter century. He's that guy. He is that guy when it comes to it, active players right now. And if anybody tells you differently, please stop listening. And if they call you a homer, you know that they have no argument to really back up their points if they think differently from you, in the sense that Patrick Mahomes is that guy. Period. End of story. And if anyone thinks differently, please stop listening. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk on that front. Just unbelievable numbers, man. I truly don't understand how people bet against his ass. I really don't. I mean, I don't get it. And you know what? You know what? He follows me on Twitter. He's a good guy. I've had nothing but positive interactions. Cyclone Larry, bro. That's down bad, brother. Rooting for the corn quarterback. That's you're hoping that Brock Purdy can beat Patrick Mahomes. Come on, brother. I'm sorry. I get fandom. I really do. I get the connection. I'm right there with you. Perfect. I'm connected to Patrick Mahomes just like a lot of y'all are forever, right? Just for the sheer fact of Texas Tech. But people actually thinking and picking against the Chiefs. The Chiefs were underdogs. What kind of lunacy ass shit is that? What are we doing? Come on, man. It's Patrick freaking Mahomes. Unbelievable. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about Texas Tech basketball. Sorry for that tangent there. One more time. Haven't already. Like the video. Goes a long way in terms of helping the channel out. I really want to talk about, from a Texas Tech basketball standpoint, what I'm looking for tonight in the sense of Texas Tech offensively. Defensively, I think it's not straightforward because Kansas is a really good team, but I think we know what Texas Tech is. They're more of an offensive focused team now. And tonight is going to be super interesting to me from the standpoint of pick and roll. Why do I say that? Let me get a drink real quick. Good H2O. We know that pick and roll is really what the foundation, I think we could all say, for the Texas Tech offense. And I'm interested to see if Texas Tech kind of changes it up tonight against Kansas, because it's going to be traditional in the sense that they're going to want to pull Hunter Dickinson away from the basket, just like the Jayhawks are going to want to pull Warren Washington away from the basket. That's just smart coaching. What I'm interested to see from a Texas Tech standpoint is there times where they just let Darian Williams be the primary ball handler. I think there's something there. I really do. I want to see a Darian Williams pick and roll with Warren Washington, and then you have Kerwin, Pop, and Chance out there. I want to see that because I think you can space Kansas out. They got great athletes in terms of their starting five is the best in college basketball, in my opinion. But obviously, too, missing Kevin McCullough, that's big for them. Let's not get it twisted. But also this, when you space a team like Kansas out, one that's honestly kind of thin, okay? If you go watch Kansas games, they're kind of similar to Texas Tech in the sense that they don't have a very deep rotation. It's on a given night, 8 guys, just like Texas Tech, right? You got Chance, Robert, and Lamar coming off the bench. It's very similar to what Kansas is doing. Obviously, Kansas has got some marquee players on their roster too, but I think if you can space Kansas out, just like Baylor did almost in a way, Baylor shot themselves in the foot though, and it's just damn near impossible to win at the Fog. But I think if you do something like that and you allow Darian Williams to kind of make those decisions in the pick and roll, I think you can space out Kansas, have better catch and shoot opportunities, and also cutting opportunities. Pop has gotten a lot better at cutting this year, right? Kerwin Walton, same thing. Chance McMillan, we know how athletic he is, and he can get up and help you rebounding it off of a missed shot, right? In terms of if you go off the pick and roll, let's say it's a kick out, right? Top of the key here, you got Warren. Darian takes the screen. He kicks it to the corner for a shot for Kerwin. You got Chance cutting on the other side to help rebound. So it's very interesting to me in terms of what they're going to do from that perspective, but also I think you could see a lot of double staggered screens. And what I mean by that is the first screen you see tonight may not be the traditional pick and roll. It may be an off-ball screen that leads to another screen for the primary ball handler that leaves the original screener with the decision of, okay, do I kick out or do I go to the basket? But the primary ball handler has the ability to choose which way they want to go. So there's a lot of ways you can go there from that perspective. But those are a couple things that I'm watching. Let's get to the chat here. Again, like the video if you haven't already. Let's see here. We got Dustin, RC. I'm going all in on KC at this point. Sorry, Dallas. It's been a real 20 plus years. I don't think you're alone. You know what the beautiful part about that is, though, Dustin? I think you can do both. You got a good excuse. I mean, you're not like me. And, you know, people call me phony. I don't really care. By the way, I just realized this picture behind me is tilted. Sorry, Dirk. But I'm a Titans fan, man. He's in the same conference. I have no chance at happiness. Well, the Titans don't give me much of it anyway, but I have no shot. So at least you have a shot with Dallas, kind of, to get there at least. Let's see here. Nick in Portland, what would have to happen for Mahomes to make it to a game next year? For football, I mean, he's just going to have his bye week, probably. And yeah, I mean, I think realistically, you're hoping that the Chiefs' bye week is the week that Dion's in town, because I think Mahomes would show up for that. I really do. Dustin, let's get Jakeem to Kansas City. Yeah, I mean, I was watching those highlights yesterday, actually, before the Super Bowl. It's a tradition for me now with Pat in the Super Bowl, just to go watch his highlights from Tech. And yeah, man, I just like watching Jakeem Grant play football. It sucks how many injuries he's had, coming off of another severe one this year up there in Cleveland. Hopefully he can get right and actually play a full season because, man, he's electric. And, I mean, he's a Pro Bowl return man. So he's got a spot in the league. There's no doubt about that. This from Michael. What the heck is going on with Texas Tech basketball recruiting? We have 0 commits so far, and that is not the case for other Big 12 schools. Yeah, good question. So they're focusing on the portal again this year. They're focusing from the high school ranks 2 years from now. Okay, so guys to know are, Kingston Fleming, the big out of Amarillo. There's some other guys as well. You might get one high school commit in the 2024 class, but as of right now, I don't think Texas Tech has officially offered him. But I do know that he was on an unofficial visit. And I'm trying to get his name right now real quick just to make sure I got it for you. Yeah, Leon Horner III. So Texas Tech technically hasn't offered him yet, but he was on campus a couple of weeks ago on an unofficial visit. And he might be a guy that Texas Tech takes as a high school commit this year. So that's kind of the name to watch, but they're going to focus on the portal this year and really allow Buff to go at it and use his connections the year after that, because they're trying to build the foundation, really implement the culture and everything, which they've done a really good job of. But I think that that's kind of what they're trying to do on that front. But that's a good question, because I think that is probably a concern for some fans out there in the sense of what the hell's going on with recruiting. We don't hear much about it. I think they'll still be active in the portal this year for sure. How do you think Pop will do tonight? I think he'll ball out. I think he rises to the moment. I talked about it a little earlier where Pop is the guy that loves the moment. It feels like the bigger the stage, the better Pop Isaacs plays. And I think tonight is going to be one of those moments against the top 10 team. Remember how he played against Kansas last year? I mean, shit, you could have argued that Texas Tech in one of their worst years in the past decade should have beat Kansas, and they didn't because they didn't call Pop Isaacs getting tripped. Remember that. So, yeah, I think Pop balls out tonight, man. I don't know exactly what that looks like in terms of stat line or anything, but I think he has a good game, and he's one of those instrumental pieces for Texas Tech to pull off an upset, at least from a rankings perspective. But if you look at the odds perspective, Texas Tech is favored. This would not be an upset technically, according to Vegas. This from Connor. Do you think Tech will have the normal Adidas logo or the Patrick logo similar to Jordan? They're going to have both, I think. It'll just kind of depend on what it is. Pat's going to have some opportunities to help out with the jerseys in terms of, how they look and everything like that. To what extent, I'm not sure. I've just heard that. But I do think that you're going to see some things where it's like, for example, I own the Patrick Mahomes shoes. The logo's on there. It's on the tongue, I guess, is what people would call that on a shoe. But you also got the Adidas logo as well. Now, if you're strictly talking on the jersey, I do think you'll have the Adidas logo and then Patrick Mahomes right next to it as well. Yeah, I think that's probably going to happen. All right, from Michael, all of our offers have already committed to other schools, including Big 12 schools, and that is very concerning. I'm not really too concerned about that, honestly, from the standpoint of Buff's really good at what he does, man. Buff's a secret weapon that I think people are really unfamiliar with how great of an influence he has on Texas basketball. I get it from the recruiting perspective right now, though, Michael, in the sense that, oh my gosh, we're losing these recruits to other Big 12 schools that we've offered. We don't have anybody committed. I think that's, again, by design. Remember, you got your foundation here for a while, right? You could have Pop come back. You've got Darion Williams potentially coming back. Chance McMillan. Like, those are three key pieces. Not to mention, you could have Devin Cambridge come back. Lamar Washington could come back. You've got integral pieces that could come back for Texas Tech next year. And that's huge. So they're going to try and go out there and see what they can get in the portal, because people don't like to hear this. And I think high school recruiting is the lifeblood of a program. I'm not going to disagree with that. But in modern college basketball, you want to be old and stay old. Go look at the teams that win championships. They're old. That's just the reality of it. And if you can get old instantly and not have to teach a kid how to college, right? Because everybody had to learn how to college. I know I did. It took me a little while, right? Go get a quote unquote grown man in the college ranks. Just plug and play him right there, right? So I think you're going to see guys like that for Texas Tech, and them really, really prioritize the portal. I would not be surprised if they land like one high school player in 2024, and the guy to know is Leon Horner. But outside of that, I'm not too sure who else they would get from this respective class. Marco, what does a win tonight mean for Tech this season? It's quad one win, man. Those are hard to come by. I mean, handle business at home and you're good. I think right now, I haven't looked at too much bracketology the past couple of days, but I do think that Texas Tech is probably on the 7 line, 8 line, in that range. I know some people are like, oh my God, they're not going to make the tournament. Like, shut the hell up. Unless just something shit hits the fan, they're going to make the tournament. But yeah, I think it's big. I think that's one of those resume building wins where the committee looks at it and it's like, here's the beautiful thing about this. The committee's not going to remember if Kevin McCullough played in this game. They're not. They're not going to remember. They're going to remember, okay, Kansas went on the road, played Texas Tech. Texas Tech won. That's a big win, because the committee is going to have Kansas more than likely on the 1 line, probably 2 if we're being honest. But yeah, I mean, it's huge for Texas Tech. Any win you can get against the top 25 team and a team that's ranked in the top 15 at KenPom, you take that, and top 15 in net ranking as well. So it'd be huge. How is Texas ranked higher in KenPom than Texas Tech based off of their current record and conference play and season play? Yeah, non-con. They had a little bit better of a non-con, and also the wins that Texas has had, pretty impressive in a lot of regards. But I mean, obviously Texas Tech has had some good ones too. I mean, if Texas Tech wins tonight, they'll pass them. I'm very confident in that. The number to know, by the way, in KenPom is no team higher than 35th, I believe it is. Yes. No team ranked in the top 35 of KenPom has ever been left out of the NCAA tournament. Think about that. KenPom goes back to 2002. So obviously that's kind of where Texas Tech wants to be on that front. This from Romo, 87-50. Tech wins. Oh my. That's all right. Hey, if it happens, man, I'm coming back to the comment. I'll give you a shout out on that one. I don't know. Let me know y'all score predictions though. One more time. Let's put them down there in the comments. Let me know your score prediction for Texas Tech at number 6 Kansas tonight out there in the USA. Should be a fun one. I'm really excited about this game from a multitude of standpoints. I think Texas Tech is just going to be better tonight in a lot of regards, specifically shooting the basketball. Again, I have a hard time believing Texas Tech is going to shoot 3 for 16 as a team if you take away Kerwin Walton. Kerwin Walton was 4 for 5 from deep. Everybody else with 3 of 16. I don't think that happens again. So let me know your score prediction. Again, like the video as well. And I'll give my score prediction one more time before I head out of here. I've got the Red Raiders winning this game 77-72. I think they win this one. I think Pop Isaacs is electric tonight. I think this is a game where Chance McMillan steps up too. I'm interested to see the matchup between maybe him and Furphy for KU. But it's going to be really, really interesting and should be a good one out there with a whiteout, not only outside, but inside the USA as well, with the snow out in Lubbock, Texas. Hope everybody's staying safe out there as well. But, yep, that's my score prediction. I've got Texas Tech winning this one. 77-72 would be another quad one win for the Red Raiders, and it should be a good one as well. And hopefully here on the channel tomorrow, we're talking about a Texas Tech victory. And by the way, I know some people are listening on Twitter. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, do so at RCMB323. It's right there, literally right there. And you can be a part of the post-game Twitter spaces that I do right after each and every Texas Tech men's basketball game. Although I probably won't do one on Saturday after the Iowa State game because I will be going to watch Texas Tech baseball this weekend out here in the DFW Metroplex area. Pretty solid, group of teams Texas Tech is playing. They got Tennessee on Friday night. That's the marquee game of the weekend. Then you got Oregon and Nebraska. So really excited to see some Texas Tech baseball as well. But before that, Texas Tech men's basketball has to handle business tonight against number 6 Kansas. One more time, Kevin McCullough Jr. is out. Once again, he is out tonight for the Jayhawks at Texas Tech. And DeJuan Harris is going to battle through it for the Jayhawks with a bum ankle. We'll see how long he can go and how effective he is. Joe Tucson, if he can beat him off the dribble, go straight at Hunter Dickinson and really create havoc for that Kansas back line. I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button for 100% free Texas Tech daily content, whether that's football, men's basketball, the latest breaking news. Maybe I'll even start talking about Patrick Mahomes here a little bit more. People seem to like that. I don't mind talking about Patrick Mahomes. I love a good GOAT talk. If you do, let me know. And before you head out of here, like the video and smash that notification bell to stay in the know on Texas Tech men's basketball all year long right here on the most engaging and most subscribed to Texas Tech fan YouTube channel in the Back to 12 podcast channel.